Okay, so my name is Adam, username Admiral, like you see right here. As of right now, I'm powder mining because I just finished Heart of the Mountain. But today I'm gonna be making a guide on how to go from how to get better Heart of the Mountain level. So I'm just gonna do this while I powder mine. But the way I went from Heart of the Mountain, I went from Heart of the Mountain 4 to Heart of the Mountain 7 in less than 4 days. The way I did it is you have to try your best in terms of commissions to. So the best way you can do it is really as at a high, like a starting point is, so first you're gonna get yourself, when you hit Heart of the Mountain, I think it's 5, you're gonna get yourself a ruby drill, and you're just gonna use this ruby drill for basically everything, and you're gonna get yourself also an armadillo. An armadillo is gonna be super useful for all those gemstone quests because really at Heart of the Mountain 5 or so, you really don't have the mining speed to just patiently do each block or pane by pane. So the best thing you're gonna do is just you're gonna get yourself an armadillo pet and a ruby drill, and you're just gonna go at it. But if you're Heart of the Mountain 4, which is what I was, you're gonna get yourself just any real pick, and like a bondage or something, and just go into the dwarven mines to get yourself to Heart of the Mountain 5 or something. But it should be pretty fairly. I'm pretty sure there's a drill, but whatever. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Next, the way you're just gonna keep doing that, but did it start the real for gear? I would go with Sorrow and a Ruby Drill until Heart of the Mountain 6 is when things really change a lot. I would recommend for Sorrow, since you're hopefully, if you're gonna keep on going with mining, you're gonna probably get a Devon's armor. Like as of right now, I'm slowly making myself Devon's armor. Like the way you make Devon's armor is you're probably just gonna buy a clean piece, or you could buy fully maxed out if you have the money. But you're gonna buy a clean piece, buy gemstone chambers, and you're just gonna keep going. You can buy gemstone chambers and slowly upgrade it by upgrade. But back to what I was talking about. Anything under Heart of the Mountain, anything just before Devon's, you're gonna be primarily, if you can, using Sorrow, because Sorrow actually has good mining speed, decently good mining speed. It's not the best, but it has good mining speed and it has good gemstones, because you get a universal once you can put topaz in. What I would start with, I would just start with all flawlesses if you can afford it, or just all fines, doesn't really matter. But I start with trying to get topaz first, flawlesses if you can afford it, and jade flawlesses, and then you can just get an amber. But an amber isn't that useful because it doesn't give that much mining speed. And the same thing goes with perfect. So you're gonna try to get perfect topaz. And the reason we're putting it on our Sorrow is because with Sorrow you can take off the, or just use most sets, you can take off the freaking things. You can take off the gemstones and just put them on your Devons when you upgrade. And realistically speaking here, Devons isn't usually worth using unless you get unless you get 3 chambers, which is about 54 mil, just clean with 3 chambers, without not including all the stuff like jaded. So next, what I'm talking about is jaded. It's not really recommended to put jaded on your Sorrow because it's probably gonna be harder to sell when you switch to Devons. Plus, you can't really take off the reforge, and it costs about 30 to 35 mil just to get jaded on your pieces. But I'm using it because I didn't really know a little bit better. But I did go into research so I can make this video for you guys and help you understand that the things you do. So that's what you're gonna be using. You're just gonna be using some Sorrow with some gemstones on it. And unfortunately, the universal slot is gonna be about 2 to 3 mil to unlock, but it is super worth it just because of how OP Topaz's pristine is. Next thing you can do is you're going to try to get Heart of the Mountain 6, obviously with the tips I gave you with Armadillo. And if you get stuff like Topaz, you're probably, by the time you get like a Topaz quest, hopefully, you're gonna have your 3rd commission, so you can just skip it and just keep going. Next thing you're gonna want to do when you have Heart of the Mountain 6 is that when you really can start getting a lot of items. It's when you unlock stuff like is when you saw like your gemstone gauntlet, a ton of other super nice things, and you can also get yourself the Vons, which is like the set that everyone uses, no matter how rich they are. It's the best set you can use for mining. There's nothing really that can top it. But usually, unless you're really rich and you're getting into mining, so you just can have a second way of money, you're going to have to keep using Sorrow, and which is unfortunate, but it's kind of how it is for me, like as I am right now. But yeah, same thing. So next, what you're gonna do is the second you're out of the Mountain 6 and you have the money to, you're gonna buy yourself a gemstone gauntlet. A gemstone gauntlet has the breaking power for everything, every single gemstone it can mine, which is why it's amazing for its price. Like, whereas with the Topaz drill, if you've seen it, it is 36 mil, barely sells. and it does the exact same thing as Gemstone Gauntlet, but does it worse with less mining speed and way more expensive. So I would not get a Topaz Drill. I would just wait until you get Heart of the Mountain 6, get yourself a Gemstone Gauntlet, and then you're gonna try to put your stones on it. The good thing about it is you don't need to unlock your you unlock your slots, so you can just put in whatever you want. I start with 3 flawlesses. You do not need your sapphires, like right here, look. Right here. I'm not using it right now because I'm powder mining. But you don't need your you don't need your ruby or your intelligence one. You're just gonna you'll be perfectly fine. It's actually more affordable to just use those 3 first slots because those are the only ones that help with mining. What I did, I started with 3 flawlesses because I could afford it. If you can't, you can start with 3 fines and get yourself the 3 fines or your 3 flawlesses. Keep using them when you can. It'd actually be really beneficial. Start with Topaz, then Jade. I really wouldn't get Amber unless you're that desperate for 25 mining speed. 25 mining speed for 11 mil isn't really a good deal unless you're like super endgame with all your powder and everything done. But moving on, yeah, you're gonna get yourself a Gemstone Gauntlet. And by the time you should have an Armadillo pet like right here. And I wouldn't really recommend it, but it's obviously a viable method. Is you could do one of 2 things. You could try to find a Dillo room or Jasper or a Fairy Gardo or ruby mine. So I'm gonna explain these 3 methods. So first you're gonna have jade mining. Jade mining is super duper simple, but it doesn't make that much because it's super consistent. You just go to you find yourself a mines of Devon, and you just keep but you go to mines of Devon and you just mine those jade pieces. Unfortunately, you can't use an armadillo on it, which is why it is less effective. I need to switch to jungle. Yeah, fun tip. If you want money while you're powder mining, I'd recommend you go to the jungle. If you want more powder and don't really care about money, and you actually could still make some money, but it's usually a lot less because you make about like 50. If you go from like 100, from like let's say 400k powder to 3 to 5 mil, you usually make like 40 or 50 mil in the process. If you mine with a jungle pick in the jungle, because look, it gives you sludge juice, and sludge juice it drops. It just regularly drops because of sludge pick. Because a chance to drop sludge juice when mining in the jungle of the crystal hollows. But you can still make some money in precursor remnants because you can drop reflectors, but it will give more powder. But I do need the money, so I can't get Devon. So I'm mining in the jungle. That's fun tip. But yeah, as I said, with Jade, you're just gonna go to the mines of Devon, and you're gonna just mine that Devon's usually near the bridge. Next method is gonna be Fairy Grotto mining. Fairy Grotto mining is there's 2 or 3 ways you can do. I'm gonna say the main 2. First one is just you're gonna look around for a grotto. It's usually really difficult to find one. Like some people just pass across them, stumble across them. That's just fairly lucky, and a lot of people make money that way. Or you could just go into Skyblock Z or just any server that supports Skyblock and just not ask. There's usually people selling grottos. And you can just buy this grotto off of them, and hopefully, I'm pretty sure I've done it once or twice, but like sometimes you can get scammed for them. But actually, you don't really get scammed for them. It's actually if you want to be a good person, don't scam them because these people actually look for these grottos, and I would not recommend scamming them. But that's one way to do it, buying fairy grottos. But it's not the most stable because maybe you can get kicked out of the lobby for no reason. It's not the most stable thing, so you can still lose money on it, but it is super efficient. Like when I bought a grotto this one time. Not this one time, I've done it twice, but I bought a grotto. I bought it for about 6 mil, and I just mined in it for a good hour and a half, and I made myself about 30 mil. It was very efficient and very useful, and just helped me get have some money so I can get my upgrades. Third way is actually the one I was just talking about. Looking for grottos. You can just take a second to look, not a second, take time, or maybe actually a second because you might get lucky with it. And just look yourself for a grotto, and if you find a grotto, that would be extremely nice, and you can sell it, or you can use it, as I said before. That's one way to do it, and then you can have money for these upgrades like Gemstone Gauntlet, better Devons, all that stuff. Last method is actually no, the 2 next ones are Sapphire Dillo mining. So the way you do Sapphire Dillo mining is there's actually a tutorial. I will link it below. It's an Implodent, wonderful YouTuber. He does tutorials for this stuff, but it's called dillo mining. It's basically you're gonna find a specific room which has huge sapphire veins. The reason you're gonna do sapphire, not jasper or anything like that, because sapphire has the biggest veins, are the only one that can support the speed of an armadillo. and you're gonna find this room and hope. And sometimes it doesn't work because the veins are all protected, which means you cannot mine them with a dillo. But if you get lucky or you just stumble across one, if they're unprotected, then I just watch the video and learn how to dillo mine, because it can make some serious amounts of money, upwards of 20 mil and up to like 70. It's really good money. Last method is ruby mining. Ruby mining is actually fairly simple, but it does require extreme efficiency. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna search up. You're gonna have SkyTills for this, or that's the way I do it. You're gonna look for. You're gonna look for just on Hypixel forums. You're gonna search up Ruby mining waypoints, and then you're gonna find probably a Hypixel forum. You can copy those, and then you're gonna go to share, import to clipboard. Like right here, look, config. And I'm gonna go to edit waypoints, share, and import from clipboard. If you copy it, then it should paste and give you all those coords. And then you can Ruby mine. You're gonna make tunnels. You're gonna make tunnels for Ruby, and you should be able. You're gonna make tunnels for those Ruby veins. Ruby veins are the exact same for every single server, so don't worry about that part. But you're gonna look for those veins, and yeah. We're just gonna keep mining it and just TPing to them, TPing them as quick as possible, and it should make decent money. I've done it once. I made about like 12 mil an hour. It makes good money, but to be fair, it does require a lot of effort, and it's definitely a viable method, because it's super consistent if you actually know how to do it. Those are the 4 methods of money I would use if you need to buy something like a gemstone gauntlet or anything, because you still could probably make it with a ruby drill. You'd probably just make a lot less though, because gemstone gauntlet is super good. It's like the biggest upgrade you can make before Devon's drill. It's like the most significant upgrade, I guess. There's bigger upgrades though, like X55, 655, 555, Devon's drill, all that. And then just from 6 to 7, you're just going to be grinding with an armadillo pet, or if you want, you can just use your gemstone gauntlet for that extra fortune. But you're just going to keep going, get to Heart of the Mountain 7, and after you get Heart of the Mountain 7, the biggest upgrade you're going to want is powder buff. Powder buff is going to help you so much with powder mining, because as you see, 25% more powder. That is 25% of your time just done. And if you multiply that with double powder, it is super good. So I would recommend getting powder buff instantly, and yeah, that's part of it. And also I'd recommend getting to at least Heart of the Mountain 5, which is what I'm working on right now, because it gives you an extra token. And then that's basically pretty much how you get from Heart of the Mountain, and from the Heart of the Mountain to Heart of the Mountain 7. That's how I did it, and that's how I did it the most efficiently. I did it in about 3 days, or actually 4, I think, about 4. From Heart of the Mountain 4 to 7 in 3 days, or 4-ish, whatever. But yeah, that's the way I did it, and it was extremely efficient, and I did it really well, in my opinion at least. If you have any suggestions or you have any questions, please make sure to write them in the comments. But other than that, thank you for watching, and have a great day.